It's the same every time you see it.
And it's always going to be the same every time you see it.
It looks like it gets
Good
better
evening,
than that
Antique
way.
Pulling World. Just ignore the blabbermouth in the background there, but he's the guy through the waste office tractor. But anyway, short notice. We got a great show lined up here tonight. I'm of course going to turn it over to Richard Nolan. We got Cliff Stugart there right beside me on the screen there. We got Tommy Agee, Paul Crowe with some air filter or carburetor tech or some kind of stuff he's going to be talking about. Bryan Lively, of course, he needs no introduction. And Nicole Morrison has some dates for us tonight for the upcoming Mason-Dixon Antique Pulling at Delta, Pennsylvania. So, Olan, Richard, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. And how about it?
Me first. All right. I want to thank all our fine guests on here tonight. We're looking forward to talking to all of you and having a conversation with you and have you join in on each other's conversations. Jerry, once again, thank you for having us. Our listening audience, please, if you get time, post on the bottom screen. Maybe Jerry explain how you do that. Just tell us where you're at. We always like to see where our audience is. We don't know. I've asked before how big our audience is, and we was told can't figure that out. But if you just put a comment on there,
the last show did very well. Last show did very well, I thought so.
So if you just put a little post at the bottom, who you are, where you're from, or just what state you're from, something like that, it'd be appreciated. It's entertaining for everybody.
Click the whole like button too.
Oh, the like button too. Richard said,
subscribe, share, and hit that thumbs up. That's right.
See, there's the thumbs up.
Yeah. And everybody likes that too. It's just good for bit. Just good stuff. But anyway, we got some really nice guests we want to talk about.
I know this guy. Art Ayers.
There you go. Thank you, Art. We got Tommy we're going to speak with Tommy first, but we have, like I say, Cliff, and he's going to talk about Eugene Sellers. We had lost a fine puller right there. Many years veteran pulling, done a lot of interesting things in pulling. We have Paul Crowe going to be talking about some filtration on carburetors, just concepts and things you need to be mindful of. We have Nicole. She's going to give us some latest up on her little pulls going up Delta, PA. Richard and I have both been there. Hello, Matt. And we have Bryan Lively going to give us the latest update on what's happening in Oak Grove and the Princeton followed up poll. Is a part at the same time, which is all good stuff. And then we're going to just briefly say, hey, listen, don't forget to sign up for them points polls going on. And
how much money?
Yeah, Richard wants y'all to get in there. He says he's taking the money this year. So, hey, come on, let's go with it. All right. Tommy, tell us what the latest is, how the rooms look, how the track looks, what your track maintenance program is for this year, different from last year. Anything about registration we need to know, parking, anything new or old. Everybody needs to know, first-time attendees or the ones that have been there repeatedly. There you go.
Yep. So 3 weeks from today, we pulling in Chatham, Virginia. Everything's coming together pretty good. Hotels are filling up from what I hear. I know the Hampton in Gretna is full. The Quality Inn in Alta Vista is still has a few rooms, and there's a couple hotels in Danville, which is about 25 minutes away from the arena. There's a couple hotels there that I've reached out to, waiting to hear back. Maybe get some discounted rates there as well. Track, we really won't know much about the track until the week before. But our plan is it'll be the the same condition it was the past couple of years. We'll start watering first of the week and have it in good shape by Thursday. Registration, we're not doing any pre-registration this year. It'll all be on site. We'll do registration for the bracket pull on Thursday morning. First come, first serve. The first 60 in line will automatically get a number in the first round. We'll pull off for the final 4 positions. Then we'll open up registration for Friday and Saturday later Thursday evening, and for a couple hours. Then we will have registration open both mornings, Friday and Saturday morning. Registration will close before the pool starts, so we'll give last call. Make sure everybody that's on site is registered before we close registration, and then we'll get started.
Pool starts at what time? So therefore, registration would end about what time?
Yeah, on Friday and Saturday, the pool we hope to start around 9. So we usually close registration about 8:45.
All right, Tommy, how many hooks are you allowing per tractor per day on Friday and Saturday?
Friday and Saturday, 4 per day plus a specialty, which is a charity class. So you can potentially, if you can make weight, you can pull 5 times a day.
All right, and make sure everybody knows what the 4 mile an hour restrictions is compared to the 6 and above and 5 and above.
Yes, all 4 mile an hour classes are 16.9 top cut only. 5 mile an hour and above are all 18.4 full cut.
And that is top cut only on 16 nines.
Correct. Top cut only.
And general weight allowances and draw bars and 11-foot rules all apply. And the hole in the draw bar, that would be applied as well, the new hole measurements, correct?
Yes. The hitch has to have the 3 by 3 3/4 for the hook on the sleds. That, from my understanding, that's required everywhere now. So it'll be no exception with ours. 18-inch back, 20-inch high. We have the 11-foot weight bracket. Absolutely no floating hitches, and that's a big thing we are watching for. Floating hitches, we caught a few over the last couple of years, and that will not be tolerated. So the guys and scales are checking very closely, and if it is a floating hitch, we will give you the option to make sure it is secure. If we catch you again, unfortunately, you're done for the weekend.
So, Tommy, let me interrupt you there for just a second for anybody out there that might not understand what Tommy means by floating hitch. If they grab your hitch and it moves up or down or sideways in any way, shape, or form, that classifies as a floating hitch. And pretty much every club out there has deemed that to be highly illegal.
Yes. If it moves any direction,
yes,
it has to be secure in place.
And of course, following the standard recommendations of NATPA on wheelie bars and that type of stuff, correct? And the 3,000 RPM limit.
Correct.
And
Yep. All tractors have to have wheelie bars, max 3,000 RPMs.
Also, just to clarify, when Tommy and Olan are talking about the 11-foot rule, everybody understands that's 11 foot from the center of the rear axle to the furthest forward point of the tractor. Nothing past that period, no ifs, ands, or buts.
Correct.
Also, because I know that I had that issue, none of your rear weights can come past your rear tires. No ifs, ands, or buts. I know a lot of people run a lot of different brackets, a lot of different weights, so it can't hang past and it can't be more than 11 foot forward of the center of the rear axle. Or believe me, Tommy's tech guys will catch it.
and the weight allowance for the full Tommy, how's it done in Virginia?
So on Thursday for the bracket pull, it's at 0. On Friday and Saturday, we'll allow 50 pounds
All classes,
in all classes.
charity, and all classes.
Yeah, charity and everything.
All right.
One of our listeners would like you to review the new style brand report that you're going to run, Tommy. So just go over that one more time, if you don't mind.
Okay, so this year how we're doing it is all 64 tractors will pull against each other in the first round. You will draw a chip 1 through 64. That will be your pulling position. The top 32 will move on. We'll pull the round. The computer will generate the pulling order for the round of 32. Pull the round of 32. The top 16 will move on, and so forth, until we get to the final two. The final two pull off for the win.
And the order that you line up on the 64, Tommy, will be computer pick.
The first round will be when you draw a chip. Your chip will be your pulling order. Then from the second round on, it will be computer generated.
Fair enough.
And your next thing you're running is team pulling, correct?
Yep.
Let's talk about that real quick, because that's new to some. Well, new to everybody, I believe.
So how we do team pulling is you sign up. If you want to be entered in the team pulling, you sign up. Computer will match you with a partner. You'll get your number, your pulling number, but you may pull back to back. You may be partnered with the first tractor. You may be the last tractor. It's just random. But you'll have a partner, and both of you will pull. We'll add the two distances together, and whoever has the most distance will split the money.
Yeah, you've done that there before.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think this is our third year doing it.
Not everybody's been there before and done that. So we have an audience. We got to make sure everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Greg has a question.
Go back to
Yeah,
the first 60 being in and so on and so forth, Tom.
Yep. So the first 60 in line will automatically get in, and how many ever is left in line will pull off for the final 4 spots.
Okay.
Everybody understands that, right? If you're the first 60, you're automatically in. If there's 20 more or 30 more after that, then 30 people are pulling against 4 spots.
I think last show you explained how the money was done on that pulling class. If you're in the pulling, it was a little different way of paying for your spot. We'll go on that again, Tommy.
Yeah. So if you're pulling off for the final 4 positions, you'll pay $10. If you're one of the lucky ones, one of the lucky 4, you'll come back and pay your other $90. So for the $100 hook fee to be in the first round.
All right. We're good now. All right. Then you have a possibility if time allowed. I think that's how you phrase it. You're going to have a losers bracket pull, correct?
We haven't mentioned that yet.
No, that's not yours. That was
Josh.
That was Josh. Sorry, my mistake.
Yes.
That's Ray Pine. Okay.
Yes, correct. Yeah, Josh. I think Josh Screw's going to do that.
He'll be on later on.
That's what Greg gets on his mind if he has no fun.
You never know. Can you see what's on his mind? I'm looking. I can't see.
Well, his words were it wasn't announced yet, so that means it's on fun.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going to have, bad at 6-cylinder, 4-cylinder again. So,
No. We can bring that shit up.
don't bring that back up no more. All right. There was an issue somewhere a while back on that. Something about a rehook.
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, we got some more questions for Tommy.
Well, why don't we go past the bracket one and at least explain your charity works, Tom?
Yes. What are they about? How they go?
So the charity classes will have one each day on one Friday and one Saturday. How we do it is it's $50 a hook. The winner gets 50%. The other 50%, the winner gets to pick which charity they would like to send it to, and we will write a check to that charity.
And what are the speeds and weights on those 2 classes, Tommy? Do you remember?
Yeah, I've got it here. On Friday, it is 5750 10 mile an hour. And on Saturday, it's 4500 5 mile an hour.
Sound like a good day on both days.
If you get 45.
If you get 45 in the pound.
Some of us are a little heavier than that.
We'll send your t-shirt down with the tractor. Anyway,
It's still good.
I was trying to be helpful. Anyway, so yeah, so then your regular classes on Friday and Saturday. I think you have it posted which class. If you go online and look, you have it posted which sleds on what classes, correct?
Yes,
What are your sleds this year?
it is. We're using the Allison sleds, which are the Terminators. We'll have both of his sleds there this year.
Well, you have a backup sled,
Yes.
and you have
Reliable.
reliable with
Oh yeah.
reliable and scales.
Yes. We'll be using our scales on the 4 and 5 mile an hour side. Then the Terminator scales will be used on the 6, 8, 12 mile an hour.
Okay, and outside you have another set of scales.
Yes, we'll have a set of scales outside. Yes.
Do you have a area where if somebody is a part supplier can be found, or they just look for them throughout the pool? Like you have a sales area or anything like that picked out?
We don't have a designated area, but if somebody is looking to sell, get in contact with me and we'll find them a spot.
Okay.
There you go.
It's always interesting. I ask that because, I'm looking forward to the day when the pools have a tent outside and you can go there out of the dust and the noise and go talk to a vendor. And I think that's probably coming sometime. Some of these pools are pretty big. You might see that in the future. Where you want to go from there? You want to stay up? We're good?
So that sounds like it's going to be a great show as usual. Everybody, as man said, it's 3 weeks. Get ready. Not going to find a better bunch of guys because there can't be a better.
Yes.
There's something to do that.
I said that sounds dangerous.
Yes, there is camping available. If you need a spot, contact me.
Gate will be open all night with security around there of some
Yes.
form.
Yes.
They also do a very good job of, if you're there early, you'll have a place to feed the tractor that at least is undercover. It might not be necessarily enclosed, but at least if it rains, it's out of the rain. So that helps a lot too.
Is there an armband thing that helps provide a little funding for the facility?
Yes. Yes, it is. You will get an armband when you come in the gate. It is $30 for the weekend or $12 a day.
Okay.
So for any of the pullers listening and going to Chatham, don't give those people a hard time. They help out and they do a really good partnership with these guys. So just buy your wristband, do what you should do, and everybody will have a good weekend and it'll go like it should.
Are there any new buildings since the last time we was down there up on the hill or anything, Tommy? Additional
No new buildings. They put in some more camping spots.
Okay.
But as far as the no new buildings, I think there's some in the future plans, but none as of currently.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think we'll wrap up with Chatham was saying, any of the pullers that are listening, you're not going to find much better people to pull with, much better hospitality. Those guys and girls down there do a great job with one right from registration to busting their bus to make sure you got a decent track. And as Tommy said, I don't know how many times, if you come to them with a problem, they're going to do their best to make sure you leave feeling like you got a fair shake. So you're not going to find a better 3 days of pulling on the East Coast too many places. So if you can show up.
Nicole, I know your tractor's been there. Are you going? Just checking. Hey, let's see what Miss Paul. Let's talk to Miss Paul.
Mr. Crowe.
Before we move to somebody else, I want to John Root put a post here. We need to look out here.
Yes. Let's go back and refresh that real quick.
I'm cool with that.
Hey.
By all means.
You want to read that little flyer? Do you still have the flyer from Miss Gina from last week where Richard read?
I probably do. Yeah, give me a second.
All right, they'll be back to you. Right now, we're gonna go talk with Paul, and we'll come back to that.
Yeah, just for you. We'll reach out to you. Mr. Crowe,
Yes, sir.
I hear you want to give us some tips on some air filter discussions, right ways, wrong ways.
Yeah.
Things to just consider.
It has come up in almost every conversation that I have on here. I think stems from a recent Facebook post, but I just want to cover some basics. I'm not going to get into the math and whatnot. I have had quite a few people this week contact me about air filters because I'll go out on a limb and say that there is a really large majority of, or I shouldn't say majority, there's a large percentage of tractors that are running a filter that's too small. And so I want to basically say this. I personally have friends and people that I have worked with when we were developing our carburetors, and now I'm doing fuel injection and some other things. And I have people that say they do not run an air filter because they want to have maximum airflow. So I first want to mention this. There are 4 basic types of filtration media, right? There's an oil bath, like an original tractor. And then there's paper, which almost nobody runs. And then there's foam. And then there's a cotton gauze, like a K&N or a Spectre. So what I want to mention is this. First of all, if your air filter is sized correctly, there should be no loss in airflow. And I'll mention this as proof. I designed and built my own air filters when we first got into carburetors. I built a filter that outflowed a K&N filter. I used foam. Now, foam does not flow what the K&N type filter does, but I built a filter that outflowed a K&N and flowed the same as no filter at all. So again, if you do things correctly, there is no such thing as restriction of your air filter. In fact, you should have the largest filter that you could physically put on it. And I'll go a step further. If anybody wants to build an air box, that's the right way to do it. There's several advantages of running an air box. But so an oil bath filter with a stock tractor has a screen to catch the big chunks and basically a bowl of oil that collects the dust. It's a really good filter. In fact, a friend of mine who invents air filters for a living, that's his favorite style filter. Because with air filters, it's not so much about the airflow, it's how much dirt they'll hold or what will they flow when they're dirty. When they're clean, that's great. It's clean for 5 minutes? And then it's dirty. So what it does when it starts getting dirty is just as important as what it flows when it's sitting in your garage. And an oil bath, because it's a big bowl of oil on the bottom, it'll hold 10, 15 pounds of dust before you run into a problem where it doesn't filter. A paper filter is a really good filter, arguably the best with some of the newer material. However, it needs to stay dry. There are ways to keep it dry. Polaris uses paper filters on their ATVs with an over filter, a pre-screen that does not let water through. And then, of course, we all know foam filters, Unifilter or whatever. And then almost everybody runs a K&N style, which is a pleated cotton gauze. But the one thing I want to mention is this: an oil bath, by name, we know that the oil in the bowl catches most of the dirt. Paper needs to be dry, and the element itself catches all of the dirt. On a foam filter, there is spray that is specific for foam filters. The oil is magnetically attracted to dirt, or dirt's attracted to the oil, whatever, however you want to say it. But you should never use a gauze filter spray on a foam filter, and don't ever use foam spray or foam oil on a cotton gauze filter. A K&N or a Spectre or whatever name brand you want of your cotton gauze pleated filter, that oil is designed for that material. So the big chunks of dirt get stuck in the gauze. The little fine pieces of dirt that pass through are attracted to the oil and will stick to the oil. That's why you never, ever use engine oil on a filter, ever. Whether it's foam or cotton gauze, don't ever use engine oil. Engine oil is designed to flow. Air filter oil is designed to stay where it's sprayed, and it's designed to attract dirt. So the same thing with foam. Foam is rated in PPI, which are pores per inch. So imagine a piece of Swiss cheese.
Really doesn't mess up.
If you took a one inch square of Swiss cheese and counted how many holes are in it, that's the same way that they rate air filters. They use, I believe, carbon dioxide to make the holes. So anyway, you got this block of Swiss cheese, and again, the big chunks of dirt get stuck and can't go through the hole. The little pieces of dirt that go through the hole will eventually get stuck to the oil and stay there. If anybody's, and I have a hard time, I've got a hearing problem, so if I talk over you, I apologize. If anybody wants to calculate the proper size for their air filter, I have the math. I will help you calculate. I won't share the math, but I can tell you exactly how big it should be. I built air filters myself, so it's not my first go round. I've been building air filters for quite some time. I don't talk about it on Facebook ever because I don't plan on sharing. A lot of the information I have is I learned with the promise that I would not share it. So anyway, like I said, I have a friend that invents air filters for a living. He's got multiple patents, really smart guy. And he was fortunate. I was fortunate enough to have him share that. So again, when in doubt, go bigger. And I would say the really big tractors, 600 cube and bigger, you should have the absolute largest air filter you can buy. If you can buy one off a big diesel truck and run that, run it. If you want to build an air box, there are really good ways to build it, and there are some bad ways to build it. And then one last thing is on some air filters, if you look inside where it would clamp on to the carburetor or the intake boot, there is a velocity stack built into it. Some of the Spectres are like that. So if you look inside the filter and you see a nice smooth, trumpet shape to it, that helps smooth out the air before it goes into the tube that feeds your carburetor. If you have a filter that you really like that does not have that, you can build it. I've taken velocity stacks and turned them down on the lathe and then epoxied them onto the entrance of the air filter. It makes a really, really big difference in the amount of air that it flows. But again, you really want to have probably 25% more surface area than you think you do, because as soon as it gets dirty, the amount of air that flows obviously starts to drop immediately. So when in doubt, go bigger. There is no such thing as a filter too big, if that makes sense.
Well, that part certainly makes sense. Let's take a step back for one, and I would ask if, Paul, I mean, even the K&N filters, some are made to be wrapped with a pre-filter screen, a pre-filter foam. So that's one thing. That's probably the far extreme of filtration, but I've also seen plenty of guys, myself included, unfortunately, when you seem to have a problem, you rip the air. The first thing you do is rip the air filter off. I know you're not necessarily an engine builder, but you're a pretty smart guy. Explain to everybody what happens when you just, especially with what we run, in dirt, dust, and all of those happy conditions when we're sucking sand and dust straight through the carburetors into intakes.
Yeah. First I'm going to answer the pre-filter thing. Because I didn't mention that. I am a massive believer in pre-filters. Now there's a bunch of different styles of pre-filters, so I don't want to get too into it. But the newer style pre-filters are what they have used on snowmobiles. We have them on our air boxes to keep water out, so it will allow vapors to pass, steam could pass, but a water droplet cannot pass, and that's great material. And I even run it on my older snowmobile. So the new style pre-filter that kind of looks like a screen door material is real thin. It's just flexible, plasticky feeling stuff. Those are fantastic. A lot of times on the K&N style filter, the gauze pleated filters, they'll run a uni-filter, an oiled uni-filter, foam filter over the top. I have that on mine. They work really well. There is a company on the foam filters, like uni filters are most of the time made of two different sizes of foam. So like the filter that I was using, I think it was a 45 ppi. It's green color. Anyway, it's real fine. Then on an over filter, I would use, let's say, a red, which is real coarse. The red keeps, it keeps the bugs out. It keeps, the cottonwood fluff and all that crap from getting down to where it shouldn't get. So that's just for the big stuff. The other thing is that they used to have, and you can use women's nylons, or I shouldn't say women's anymore. I guess you could just nylons. But when
yes, just nylons.
you can't say women's anymore. But
We're
when
not worried about that right now.
when we were riding when we're riding dirt bikes, they have these little pre-made socks that were designed to fit our filters, whatever size filter you had, and you would put the sock on the nylon over the top ahead of time. And then if you were riding, let's say we go riding for 3 days straight, the first day that filter is absolutely packed with crap, so you could peel that off, throw it in a Ziploc bag, grab a new one, put a new one on, and worst case, at the end of the ride, if you were all out of them, just peel it off, and then your filter was brand new at the end of the ride. So a pre-filter is good. I would oil it. If you don't know how to oil a filter, ask me. I'm on Facebook every minute of every day. There are ways to oil properly, and there are ways to not oil properly. And again, let's say on a K&N, on a gauze style, you want it to be a real light pink color. If you over oil them, your machine could not even start. It'll run like crap. So again, don't go too light, don't go too heavy. Most of the time, a real light pink would be okay. On a foam filter, you can either have a spray-on oil, or they make buckets of oil. Again, this is mostly for motorcycles. You would put the filter in there and saturate it with oil, and then you would carefully squeeze it out. Don't wring it out because you'll wreck it, but squeeze out the extra oil. And that's old school. That was from, 1970s when, I'm old. What can I say? Okay, so on a pre-filter, yeah, definitely run a pre-filter. What was the second thing you had?
So the second half is, because I know I've unfortunately had to do it more than once because
to not run one.
Not run one because
okay.
Much like you said, for caring for them, you get water, you get oil, you get dirt, you get this, you get that.
When you're running a really big carburetor, I mean, if you're running a Stromberg or some big monster Zenith, the jets and the holes in that carburetor are huge. I mean, you could suck up a bird and it won't even matter. But when you start getting into a smaller carburetor, or in the case of our carburetor, which had 6 individual jets, the emulsion tube has very, very small holes. I'm not sharing a picture. I have a picture of a carburetor I'm working on right now that the customer, I believe, was not using an air filter. And it looks, no lie, like you gave it a nice light coating of oil and then dragged it through a sandbox. It has sand above the butterfly by the gasket where it bolts on. There is sand and dirt everywhere. There's no way. And the customer had a running problem. Again, not pointing fingers or trying to make anybody feel bad. The reality is,
the thing is, Paul, the dirt at the butterfly is probably the best case scenario. The reason I bring that up is if it gets to the butterfly and it gets past the butterfly, obviously it's going right down to your valves, your rings. You're literally sandblasting your engine from the inside out.
I agree with that. If you just calculate real quickly, I don't have that math, but just take, let's say, a 400 cube M and calculate how much air that thing moves in a 5-minute interval. You wouldn't even believe it. It's like half the air inside of Tommy's arena, and so yeah, if you think that running a filter and that you're really not running in dusty conditions, it's okay to run a filter. It's never okay. Not only will you destroy your carburetor in the case of this one, I don't even know what we can do to fix it. It's got sand everywhere. But like you said, you're pumping all that crap right into your engine, right into your engine. There is no justification. Again, people say it all the time. I heard it just yesterday. Well, I don't like running that filter because I don't want any restriction. Again, and Bryan, I wrote an article for Hook Magazine. We have it on our old website. I'm sure Bryan would share it if I asked him to. And it actually had what our carburetor flowed, and then what no air filter flowed, and then what a properly sized K&N filter flowed. And we did this on a professional flow bench. And my filter flowed the same as having no filter. So again, if you say that it changes the way your tractor runs, then you pick the wrong filter. Just like with headers, people say, well, if you can only have a header on a big engine. If you believe that, then you're buying headers from the wrong person, because it just comes down to math. So use a filter and use it correctly. And if you don't know, like I said, I answer the phone 7 days a week. You guys know that. They call me on Sunday all the time. So I'm happy to help.
We appreciate the information, Paul.
All right, I'm gonna log off. But if anybody has any questions for me, direct them. We
absolutely will.
Give them my phone number. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, Tommy, checks in the mail for sponsorship. All right, take care, guys.
Cliffy next.
We have Bryan.
Good job.
And
Bryan.
Bryan's next.
Brian's next.
I'm next.
Bryan,
You're next.
tell us about Oak Grove. It's a great venue. We're followed by Princeton and location. Some of us can't be there, but doesn't mean it's not a great venue. And I wish to have it talked about.
Well, thanks. Thank you all for having me on. Thank you, JR, for the platform. Olan and Richard for your the platform as well. Next, 2 weeks from today, the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, we'll be in the Oak Grove, Kentucky, at the Oak Grove Arena Gaming and Casino facility. It's a nice, fairly new facility, just really conveniently located. It's near Nashville. It's near Paducah, Kentucky. It's got a nice central location. Got 3 big days planned. There's I've calculated, I think there's 83 classes. If you don't have anywhere to pull, then as an antique tractor, I don't know where you're going to fit in at. Let's just put it that way. But got like I said, 3 big days. The first day we've got what I call the Fast and Loud day, which is mostly you got the modified classes, which would be 5 mile-an-hour to 14 mile-an-hour tractors. Then next day we've got the Super Farm, which are your uncut 16.9 tire tractors, 20-inch hitch, then top cuts, and another round of modifieds. And then Saturday we add a little bit of everything, and then the pure farm stock in that mix as well for a lot of local tractors, a lot of local guys that don't normally have a chance to pull and play indoors, a chance to break stuff out of the shed and get a chance to pull. So it's a full weekend, and we've got Princeton just 2 hours north of there. We understand there's going to be a lot of folks that running points for Princeton, and that's great. That's wonderful. But we welcome folks come down for 2 days with us, and if they're running points with NATP, come down and visit us first, and then head north.
All right. Our typical questions are, what are the sleds you're running right there?
Okay. We've got the Heartbreaker 2 sled. Justin Collier's going to be on the modified side. The Jeff Hale Hillside sled is going to be our other primary sled, and then the Dixie Iron is going to be our backup sled, the sled from Tunica. But again, the Heartbreaker 2 is a well-recognized, well-respected sled. The Hale sled is really, really good. It's a nice size sled for antiques. Of course, that's all it pulls. And then Dixie Iron, that's got a long history as well. So we've got some good iron for folks to pull down there.
Right. And the track, It's all indoors. The tracks like track prep or anything special you want to tell us, or
It's your it's a we were kind of thinking it was going to be kind of the horse dirt kind of feel, but there's ability to get enough water and enough moisture in it. It's going to take some nose weight. It's going to make for competitive runs. It should work out pretty good.
signboards and are you doing a live feed at that same time?
I'll do a live feed. We'll and we've got signboards and we've got and in fact Jeff Hale, he just purchased the distance and speed boards himself for his dedicated for his sled, and of course Justin he carries his everywhere he goes indoors. So we've got the everything that we've kind of checked off the promotion group that when we've met, what can we do to make things better, go faster, go more efficiently with that number of classes. It's going to take some tremendous efficiency on our part to make things go. In our last meeting, we said, if we get started at 8:30, we hope to get done at 8:30 at night. I think it's something to shoot for. $40 a hook, 3 hooks per day plus specials. We've got 3 special classes. We've got 4250 King of the Hill, 6250 King of the Hill, and then a 4875 dedicated to Shriners Children's Hospital, which is the charity of record.
Any particular rules that we need to know would be different than from, say, Tunica or White Pine or Chatham?
The modified rules are they're pretty cut and dry across the board. 20-inch high, 18 inches out minimum, or it can't be closer than 18 inches from center to center of the axle. We had some trouble last year. Some folks had a little bit of a short drawbar. Those things we checked this year, so beware. So folks, be aware of that. We've also been asked to be aware of working kill switches. There's in these indoor barns, though this is a nice sized barn, we're 220 plus for length on the each side on the twin tracks, but still we need room for in case something happens. Switches work, we could slow down. Everybody's happy and unhurt. Maybe a little bit of a bruised pride, but that's one thing that we've talked about. We want to see done.
Any diesels?
Diesels are fine. There's enough ventilation. In fact, that was one of the really nice things about this facility is that they've got I think a half dozen of those big ass fans in the roof. Plus, there are roll up doors, garage doors that line the building, and we can open as many as necessary.
Parking for tractors indoors or outside?
There's the stable. There's a stable facility behind because it's primarily an equestrian event center. But there's room in that event center to get tractors indoors. Unfortunately, there will have to be some stuff parked outdoors, but get first come first served kind of deal. If you don't park on pavement, it's your own fault. There's enough paved parking for everybody to stay off the dirt and stay off the grass.
Would staging be underneath roof or outside?
I'm sorry.
For staging for your hook, would that be outside or inside?
On the inside.
Be on the inside, be room. What you got there?
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you tell us about how you're going to register and your weight allowances, Bryan?
Right now, I think we're going to be like 40 pounds allowance. That's kind of that typical Tunica feel. That's kind of where they've been, because there's some partners involved, from Tunica that are also part of this deal. They're 2 completely different entities, but there's some things that are kind of commingled in a way. Pre-registration, we're doing pre-registration. I've had enough folks contact me personally. It's like, can we go ahead and pre-register? Because there's one gentleman coming from South Dakota said, hey, we won't be able to get there till late in the evening on Wednesday. Can we go ahead and get our tractors registered numbers drawn and that kind of thing. And all we have to do is pay our hook fees and pick up our cards. So it's, we're expecting a pretty good crowd. So.
Yeah, very good.
Like Rick Krause I just had on there from Newburgh, Pennsylvania. We'll just say have sleds will travel. That's Rick Krause from Krause Sled Rental.
All right, well, we're still on it. We're watching their schedule. Bryan, thank you. I want to talk with Cliff. Cliff, this past week we lost a really fine puller, Eugene Sellers. You had spent a lot of time with him. I think JR's got some pictures. He has a long history, I think, with Bryan, NATPA. What was it, first secretary or something? He was back at the beginning of small tires. I think at one of the podcasts back 50 years ago, pulling small tire. Did some of the early motor swap outs and did a lot of creative things along the way. Met a lot of people. Had a conversation with Cliff. Eugene was very much into not just the pulling being good, but also the meeting people and talking to people along the way.
So he's real part of practical and history and legacy is what you're trying to say.
Very much. Here's some pictures. Go ahead with it, Cliff. Talk to us. What you saying?
Well, this was at White Pine here. He hooked up and they wasn't quite prepared for him. He pulled it right out the door. Had to stop there. This has been probably, I'm guessing like 2017, 18. Here they are. This is at Tunica, Mississippi. Everybody got down there. The whole bunch of them from Pennsylvania got there, and they were all there together talking, making plans, I'm sure. So,
about how old was he at this time?
Well, Gene, if he would have lived another month, he'd have been 95.
So he was in late 80s at this time doing these pictures?
Yeah, like the picture we have here now, that was in 2015 going to Tunica. We all went together.
Tell everybody who the other two individuals are. So,
well, now you're one on the left, Bill Hughes. And Bill Hughes, well, I wish he was here to talk because him and Gene went all over the country together. Bill was telling me last evening that he figured that the last truck he had, he probably almost put 40,000 miles on with Gene, just going to tractor pulls. The fellow behind in the center there really needs no introduction. That's Don Remley. Unfortunately, they lost Don back in 2020, I guess it was now. Very, very good puller. But yeah, Gene and him, all these guys went all over together. And Gene, he not just pulled NATPA, which he did for years, but originally he started out with NTPA. There's a lot of stories about Gene taking and pulling in the early days, flying an airplane. He flew an airplane. He had his own plane. Flew out to these pulls, and when they were starting them out, being the secretary, everything you guys see on TV was started right with Gene and a few other fellows. That's how this all got started. And some of them from here, other people from here. One of them would have been Dale Whelan also. And if you ever all wonder what happened to Gene's tractor that he pulled last, Scott Whelan has it. He was the best. His dad was best friends with Gene, and Scott with him quite a bit touring the end of his last couple years of pulling. Gene pulled until he was 90 years old. And his last year with NATPA pulling, he won both point championships. So he was competitive right to the end, the last day. There's Gene there. He was at Muddy Run at that point in time. He took and was down there testing out his new 240 at the time. I mean, this has been probably around 2017. Gene also, he was part of starting the pulling here in Pennsylvania as far as in Center Hall. He helped start that. I know he's had other ones that he started help pulls, here, and which attracted a lot of bigger venues like NTPA in here. So, but yeah, he definitely had a very good life at tractor pulling. He loved to go out and see people. This here's a picture on the back of my tractor. I bought from Gene. I kind of was a tribute to him. And he was, as it said, my mentor. And I mean, that wasn't for Gene, I would have never probably ventured out and went as far as I have. He dragged me to Michigan, in the upper thumb of Michigan to start out. And that all started from there. And I'm not the only one. There's been several people that he's done the same thing with. As far as on his tractor goes, why, Travis Irvin, he's from Western Pennsylvania, young fellow. He ran it quite a bit for Gene. He loved to get people to run his tractor so he could watch it. There's a picture, Gene. He's that's in Tunica, Mississippi there. And as he did there, he ran his tractor in Tunica, and he handed it over to me for a day for pulling. So, he definitely the grandfather of tractor pulling when it really comes down to it. A lot of people has learned to not just pull tractors, but learned lots of lessons in life too because of Gene. He took a lot of people and made sure that they all, how do I want to say, was kind of family, really. That's what he did. He took them a lot under his wing and done that. He done a lot of advice giving. I mean, people would call him and ask him advice on his little tractors or the bigger ones. He pulled 1066 also, many bigger tractors too during the years. I guess in the early days there was a lot of them that a lot of stories, and I wish I had time to tell all of them that I have heard. But he definitely was a man that everybody should have known who he was.
So he cast a long shadow that encompassed a lot of people.
Oh, he sure did. Bryan Lively could probably tell you a couple things that he knows too there about him. And if you got something, Bryan, you go ahead and give him a little talk. But
Cliff, I really admire the experience you had with him, with Gene, because I mean, following along kind of side by side with him. I wish I'd been able to spend more time with him than I did. But those moments you had with Gene, time stood still, and if he talked to you, you listened.
Oh yeah.
And the best thing that I ever got was every time I'd go to the mailbox, I never know what I'd get, but every once in a while there'd be a letter, and all the letters I ever got from him, I've got them in my drawer here, and I'll keep them forever. It talked to, it was stuff that he wanted to express to pullers about things that they might want to let people know or understand, or that turned into tech articles, or just some words of encouragement, or some advice about something. And you can't, that kind of experience and that kind of advisement, you can't ever overlook it. You take it to heart.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, Eugene, he gave a lot of advice, and I guess really, what he always used to say is a tractor pull is just an excuse to go see your friends, and he was absolutely right there.
Amen. Amen.
He took me around and got me going, and we all went, and there were several of us, but we all went as friends, and we all met new people, and I've still done it today. At the last poll I was to, Bryan was at, and I met new people out there, and it's just kind of in his tradition, and really, and yeah. I think a lot of people do the same thing. They go to these polls, and they take and meet old friends and find new ones too. And it's always, and that's what it's about, really. I mean, we go pull and we talk all technical and we do all this stuff. In the long run, though, it's spending time with your friends with sport you enjoy.
Yeah, one of the neatest stories of recent with Gene was and unfortunately they're both passed now. Is that I didn't realize that Ted Dibble, a sheet metal guy from New York, itty bitty binder, you folks from that part of the world, you know who Ted is. Ted was Ted and Gene were good friends, and they hadn't seen each other in 20 some years, and Ted had just happened to be headed that way for something back towards Pennsylvania, and called him up, and I got the conversation for both ends of it. Where the two gentlemen that were bound together by International Tractors and by tractor pulling in general, they just picked up where they left off years before. And enjoyed the conversation. I hope they're enjoying the conversation again right now.
Yes, sir. He definitely did that. Gene reached out far and wide. He pulled all over this country. I know he's been as far away, at least as Nebraska, and pulled. A matter of fact, I think he might have been in Colorado, I believe, and Florida. He's been in Vermont. He's traveled all over this country, and if he showed up, he was going to be a threat. I'll guarantee that. He was a very good tractor puller.
Yeah. I personally was fascinated by one article he gave me about hitch length and the advantage of a long hitch, and if you looked at his 240 and the other tractor, it had a little bit longer hitch than everybody else did, and how that fit part of physics, and the math he did, and it worked for him. His tractor's hooked up.
He was trying to do something out of the box at the time that nobody else was doing. Everybody else was in his class was running a smaller tire, and he was trying to get more footprint on the ground. And he found a way to make it work. And he was successful with it too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Very much so.
All right. We're gonna come back, Gene. I don't want to be short on Gene Sellers at all. We only have so much time tonight, and Jerry done informed us that early on. I'd like to get to Josh. I'd like to get to Nicole real quick, and I also like to remind everybody, Gina Root and the GoFundMe project thing they have going on. It was on the last month's podcast. I don't know if you got any flyer on that still floating around, JR. You can flash that up. But Josh, I'd like to hear from you on the latest updates from you on your poll.
Well, I mean, the latest things on us is the biggest news, I guess, is I did talk to the best Western out there, Exit 8. And if you'll go to our Facebook page, Jefferson County, Tennessee FFA Alumni Tractor Pool, you can see the room rates on there. I think Thursday night it's $99.95. Friday, Saturday's $109.95. I think it is. And they do want you to call, not do online, because she said chances are it would fill up and may not show that online. So, but we're just in the process of trying to come up with some sponsorship and just trying to get ducks in a row for here in about a month. It'll be on us in no time.
Mm-hmm.
And, pre-registration still open. Highly encourage pre-registration because that makes life easier on our registration people the day of. And, I mean, I guess that's about all the new news since last time. Unless you got any.
All your classes running, or you have any changes in classes, or evening schedules, day schedules, anything new? Everything good on that?
Oh, as of right now, everything's running. Evening show starts at 7:30 on Friday night for the trucks and the fast stuff. Bracket pulls on Friday morning start at 9:30, and then Saturday morning we'll start up at 9 o'clock with just a regular pool for Saturday, and got of course 3 hook limit on Saturday. But everything's still on as planned for regular times.
Right. Thank you, Josh. I'm going to do an update with you. Nicole, quick update from Delta.
Yeah, we have the deck set.
Uh-oh, that made bigger.
That's all I got. Sorry.
I can't read it. Richard, you read it?
And Nicole's not reading.
Nicole got to read it to us.
I was going to say she's probably got. If not, I can read it, Nicole. If you don't have the.
It doesn't matter. Our first one's April 20th. Then we have May 18th, June 9th, which is a Sunday, because Saturday they were booked. July 11th is the night of the fair. It was changed from Wednesday to Thursday due to us having 3 nights of pulling in one shot instead of having to do the track for Tough Truck and then us again. August 24th, September 21st, and October 19th. And we are still deciding on what classes to pull each day yet, and we do have the new rules. They're just not posted yet. We are following the same rules that everybody else is going to as well.
Well, that's a big step forward. As everybody knows, Nicole comes on here often with us, and she's been a large part of our podcast from day one. So we always try to support the Delta group. Nicole, thank you for coming on, talking to us. We're going to do recaps on everybody, and then
Well, as part of your recaps tonight, if all of you could share where they can go on Facebook and or a website or any of the above, so they can kind of keep track of you guys and girls and update as your polls get closer. Just let them know where the flyers are, where they can find out registration, class rules, any of those things, in case they want to research a little more on their own.
And Cliffy, let them know where the calendar of poll dates is that you can't try to keep available when we get back to you.
Okay.
Which one you want to start with, Cliffy?
Well, we might as well go back. We'll
Yeah, let's go back to Cliff here real quick.
Tommy first. Okay, then.
Tommy first.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention in Danville, Virginia, which is about 25 minutes away from the arena, there's a new casino, Cedars Casino there. So if you want to go gamble at night, about 25 minutes. We're trying to work out a deal with them. Maybe we can get some vouchers or something. So just stay tuned to that. But other than that, we're looking forward to it. And 3 weeks we'll be pulling.
Tommy, just tell them what your Facebook page is for the club, and that way if they need to look you up, they can, if anybody wants more information.
Yeah, our Facebook page is Southwestern Antique Tractor Association, and our website is swatgea.org, SWATAGEA pulling.org. So we keep it up to date. If anything changes or any news we need to pass along, we'll keep our Facebook page and the website up to date.
Sounds great. Brian's left.
Good.
All right, Brian, you want to share the same information? That way, if they missed anything, they can catch up on their own.
Either you or Oak Grove or whatever.
Okay. Just a reminder, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, we're 2 weeks away. Oak Grove, Kentucky, the Oak Grove Gaming Racing Arena. It's right off I-24, just conveniently located. Lots of places to stay. All the host hotels are filled up, but there's Hampton Inn, Oakwood, and Candlewood, and Holiday Express are still open as far as I know. Just come join us. There's a room for everybody to pull. There's opportunity for everybody to pull. Just check on the charity Tractor Pullers page on Facebook, the Hook Magazine page on Facebook. Information in terms of rules and pre-registration are pinned to the top on both pages. So appreciate the time to visit. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Josh, since we'll circle back and kind of end with Cliffy, why don't you same information on White Pines?
All right, Jefferson County FFA alumni, March 22nd, 23rd, at Smoky Mountain Expo Center there in White Pine. Facebook page is Jefferson County, Tennessee FFA Alumni Tractor Pull. You can go on there. You can pre-register. The flyers on there. We have a meeting not Monday, but the next Monday, and we'll get the rules put on there shortly after that. You You got the Best Western out there at the exit to stay in, and come pull with us. And Bryan, and if weather holds out, I plan on being at Oak Grove and Chatham for a little while. Oh, I mean, I think if
Glad to have you.
don't get changed,
That would be
Right.
fantastic.
information up there.
That would be fantastic.
Yep. Same here. Look forward to having it.
Let's give
Glad to
Nicole
have
an opportunity to put her little Facebook page out there.
Okay.
Nicole, where can they find their information on Mason-Dixon and all of those happy events?
I run the Mason-Dixon Fairground Antique and Classic Tractor Pulling Facebook group. That is Mason-Dixon as well as Fallen Grove events, since I run both of them, which is easier to keep them all on one right now.
Okay. Now, as more of a kind of in the night on not such a happy note, that's where I'm going. So, much like Olan said earlier, let's not let's not cut the night short, but let's give it back to Cliff and make sure we end with both remembering the one we just lost and the one we talked about, Gina Roop on the previous show. So, Cliff, it's yours.
Alrighty, hey, we'll start out with the Pennsylvania Antique Tractor Pulling Calendar. And usually if it's a pull where any of the guys that's pulling Pennsylvania is pulling New York or, close states, Ohio, New Jersey, wherever, south to Maryland, even farther south. But encourage you, put them on that. Pennsylvania Antique Tractor Pulling. This time of the year when there ain't nothing else much going on, all you guys is pulling in Tennessee, you're pulling in Virginia, all over the place. Nicole, I'm sure she has it on the page. You guys all take and get your stuff on there. There's no problem with it. Because, hey, we got guys from Pennsylvania that might want to come visit your pulls. So put it on there. You click onto it, and you'll ask you about being a member onto it. Hey, just click on it, and I'll approve you and post away. What I'd like to have, though, is from your club, I'd like you to put something on from that. And remember to have your name of your club, your address, so they can find you. Because they need to know where, and it wouldn't hurt if you had your rules and stuff like that on, so they know what to expect before, and information as far as contact. Getting back to like Gina, I seen where John Root put on a thank you, and I'm sure he appreciates everything everybody has done. Eugene Sellers, it's hard to say a whole lot more. The man's a legend, and he should be honored as such. I think that's about all I have. Olan?
No, I'm not ready to finish it up.
So, I mean, obviously with the discussion of from the words from both Cliff and Bryan,
You want me to read that, Richard? I'll read it for you.
There is no way I can read that.
I know. it's a write-up. I believe I'm not sure who wrote this up. I believe it was a neighbor that wrote this up. John grew up on a family dairy farm in New Windsor, Maryland. He started tractor pulling at age 14, pulled farm tractors at the Carroll County Fair, and got more involved as years went on. He pulled an Oliver 88 for many years, named the Beast, for many years in the Mid-Atlantic region. He was a member of the Heart of Maryland Tractor Pullers, helped with Johnny Blank, Grayson Johnny Blank, as we call him in East Coast Pulling, Paul Smith and Richard Reaver, and hauled the Rebel sled around for many summer events and winter indoor events for Paul Stahl. John is a life member and past president of the Central Maryland Antique Club, board member of Maryland International Harvester Collectors Club, Chapter 39, member of the Maryland Two-Cylinder Club. Jenna and John met 11 years ago through John's auction business. They have donated many hours of time auctioneering to churches, fire companies, tractor clubs, and shows, and other charities. Also, they volunteered many hours at the Tuckahoe Steam and Gas Show and the West Virginia Oil and Gas Festival in Sistersville, West Virginia, and other tractor and engine shows. Jenna was by John's side when he was announcing interstate pools or car and combine derbies at Carroll County Fair or the Buckwild Show in Westminster, Maryland. The East Coast or interstate pools at Tuckahoe Showgrounds in Eastern Maryland. Jenna enjoyed pulling her Farmall C and John's Farmall Gold Demo H at many events. Her favorite pools was the Mid-Atlantic Super Pool in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and the Pennsylvania Farm Show Pool. Jen and John always kept everyone fed at the Mid-Atlantic Super Pool from 5:30 a.m. to midnight. Wow. Jenna and John loves not only their families, but their tractor and auction families. That's all I can say.
Well, I let both those words that JR just read, you know, the commentary you've heard from John and Gina and Gina's neighbor, and the words you've heard from both Cliff and Bryan Lively tonight. Obviously, when we're on the track, you know, including the guy next to me, if I can, I'm going to beat him. If he can, he's going to beat me. But it's a lot more to it than just the tractors going down the track, and there's really a lot of lifetime friendships and
Friends and families.
and families that are made. You know, not all family is blood. Some family you choose. So everybody watching, everybody in the tractor world ought to remember that, and remember that, you know, tomorrow's not promised, and memories will long outlive trophies. So keep that in mind.
We want to thank all of our guests tonight. You never know who will be on next month or next time we're on. We're never sure about that ourselves. Richard is not sure about it till I tell him. Then he's sure about it. And anyway,
Still not sure about it.
he's never sure. But thank you for you all being here. JR, thank you. You know what to do next, don't you?
Here we go. I can't hear.
It's because I was muted. Sorry about that. Again, I'm going to appreciate all the guests did a wonderful job tonight. Everyone had great words. The tech information was great from Paul. And Cliff, it's good to meet you. And not face to face in person, but anyway, appreciate everybody coming on. Nicole coming on last minute. And literally, this show was built and ready to go about 20 minutes before 8 o'clock. So we got her done. We made it happen. So.
Before you go to the exit,
Yes.
I will point out that in the corner there's a new logo. So
Yes.
any of the viewers have any comments, likes, concerns, changes, any of the above, y'all know what to do.
Yep. Absolutely. MIDSHORE Pullers, where legends are made.
And you never know what's next.
And you never know what's next. Anyway.
We don't know.
All right. Appreciate everybody coming in here. We had a great crowd earlier on. It kind of tailed off a little bit, but did pretty good. About the first quarter of the half of the show was really good. So, with that said, it's still good. Anybody's good. I'm just saying. I do have one more to share real quick. I can't let this one go.
Well, if while you're doing that, don't forget to remind Greg Grimley, dropping weights, it's the same thing as dropping air filters. And the closing.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go. Oh, and also Greg Grimley gets signed up for the Pennsylvania traveling points.
Absolutely.
Get her
More
done.
the merrier.
We'll have to get Greg on here and push that again here soon.
More pullers, more money.
That's right.
More stories.
Yeah,
to
point
tell.
series and antique. That's awesome.
More stories
Get
to
it done,
tell.
More stories to tell.
Right on the
man.
stick,
Stories to tell. Okay.
looking toes, all those things.
Oh, more stories.
More stories.
All right. With that said, thanks. We'll be back soon, I'm sure. A lot of stuff coming up indoors for these guys. So, yes, you will, Richard. You'll be back.
Not until after we're done pulling.
Not till after you're done pulling. We'll see.
That's
About that.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, hit that thumbs up. Let these guys know you enjoy their show. They do a good job. So, see ya.